Hi, welcome back to Narcissist Theater. We're at least going through the Reckless Ben versus the Minifigs company, and I want to clarify what this is. Usual disclaimers I should put at the front. Everything said here is me speculating based on my own understanding of those with narcissistic personality disorder. I am doing this for educational purposes by overlaying the necessary understandings of narcissistic personality disorder over the behaviors of the people we're seeing involved in this case, not only to provide insight into a potential interpretation of why things are the way they are, but also to provide people insights into how narcissists think and behave so that they themselves might better understand and protect themselves in the future. It's a low-effort, high-passion project, and do not take anything that's said here, whether it's official clinical terms made up on the fly or just general reference. Do not ever use it to try and confront with or project onto someone else, even if you think they are a narcissist. If you, in fact, are dealing with a narcissist in your life, my firm recommendation is to quietly begin to extract yourself from that situation discreetly. Do not try and convert them. Do not try and convince them that they are, in fact, a narcissist. And do not, under any circumstances, attempt to change them. It is only a losing battle. All right, and again, anything I say here is pure speculation on my part, used for educational purposes, and to provide potential insights as to why things might be going down the way they are. There is no intent to harm the image, personality, or anything the like of anybody associated with this. Alright, so where did we last leave off? Well, when we last left off, Josh had promised he would get the Legos back because he was recognizing that, in fact, this entire situation was causing more problems for him than he had anticipated when he originally acquired the Lego set. Now, my official assessment up to this point has been that what Josh did, as well as the Bricks and Minifigs company, was not at all illegal. Morally dubious, yes. But due to having 3 layers of separation from the causality, they felt pretty secure. When this started, they basically went, look, we can blame Crystal if they want to take us to criminal court because she's the one who signed it. If, in fact, somehow Crystal's able to convince them that our company is responsible, we can throw Brandon under the bus. And if Brandon turns on us, I can throw Josh under the bus, in which case the CEO has 3 layers of separation between him and there. Up till now, I have not actually seen nor discussed Brandon. Brandon is one of the co-owners of the store. I'm not convinced he isn't a narcissist himself, but he could just be a hired muscle. Either way, of the people involved with this, I'm convinced there's only about 2 to 3 actual narcissists involved in this equation. What happened was, Josh is completely flabbergasted because he's dealing with a madman. Reckless Ben, while doing everything completely above board, legally speaking, he has repeatedly put Josh and the company in positions where they cannot, in fact, go after Josh without exposing what they're doing. And yet, they are desperate to keep him quiet. They have tried intimidation. They've tried intimidation. They've tried lying to him in denial. They've tried shaming him into stopping what he's doing. And they've even broken down and started being honest with him that this isn't his problem. It's becoming increasingly clear from their behavior, through a narcissistic lens, that they are beginning to assess him as a threat to their sense of self, which, as I explained last time, is no different to them than it is leveling a gun at them. Narcissists do not recognize a difference between information that challenges their perception of the world versus actual physical danger. And I wanted to make this clear. Reckless Ben is living up to his name, and I've jokingly laughed quite heavily that he's a madman, and that they don't know how to deal with that. I stand by that assessment. Reckless Ben is not sane. He is not a normal person. He has taken down cults, apparently. I have not seen those videos. We'll get around to it. But where we last left off, Josh seemed to be understanding that he was in a situation. One that if he simply returned the Legos would be better for him. Now, he says it's doing damage to his company, but my last speculation is Josh didn't think this through. Because the last thing Ben did was do an entirely legal raffle of Brian's property. And since the store owner said she was stealing from a little girl, that was actually on tape. We had that recorded there. That's a thing they have to answer for. Now, I am also going to spend this first part of the video speaking again in defense of the police department and the people who work at the store. See, people don't understand that narcissists kind of prey upon people's general belief that most people are reasonable. They genuinely don't dig into matters that don't involve them, and they tend to take somebody's word for it if it sounds like it's a pretty reasonable thing. That's why they've been keeping the employees actively in the dark, so none of them are trying to cover for this. They just don't know that there's a crime to cover for. The police are used to bouncing people who harass this store ever since some YouTubes tried investigating them. So to them, Reckless Ben is just another one of those, just a more stubborn one. And my last speculation was that the police didn't take his raffle seriously. Same way they didn't take his franchise seriously. He has all the legal paperwork. If he were to go to court, he is protected. But the police in the moment don't think anybody would go through those degrees, because they're right. Nobody would. Only a madman would do that. So instead, he looks like he's some serial harasser attacking these innocent, upstanding members of the community with accusations of theft that should be solved in a civil court instead of via these elaborate ruses. Okay? So as far as the police are concerned, he's annoying. And the fact that he went to the police department to try and report them to themselves, he's likely put himself on the back foot with police in general. Because now he is somebody who has tried to punish police with accusations of corruption, when they themselves are like, there's no frickin' way. We've been told that this is all fake. We've been told these are all lies. We've been told that he's not doing anything. Like, who would do this? Why would he do this? Ha ha, very funny, random, but no, you're not getting away with it. So we're in a place where Reckless Ben's antics have put them in a weird spot. It's polarized the entire situation. Because on the one hand, you have the narcissists painting this picture of being harassed unreasonably over something that should be able to just be resolved in a court. And that sounds so reasonable on paper. And you have this kid causing all this trouble, not even from Utah, showing up, stirring things up, constantly harassing these people. But in order to actually do anything about him doing that, the narcissists would have to open the door to questions. Questions they don't want to answer because they know Ben is being honest and true. They know if Ben is allowed to speak and present his evidence, this entire situation flips back on them. The last step we had was Josh promising to return the Legos because this was causing too much trouble, and I keep circling around that, but there's a reason we had to set everything up. See, I don't think Josh thought this through. And I'm pretty sure that if my assessment on the CEO is correct, that he is also a narcissist, Josh said to the CEO, it's like, look, we're getting way too much flack for this. We need to pay the guys. We need to get them to back off because this is more trouble than it's worth. Because the last thing they did by stealing from the raffle under the admission of the manager of that store, that is a $250 fine or 10 years in prison. They have committed a felony if they admit to it. And Josh going, look, let's just give them back the material, would be, by virtue of that, admitting to the fact that they do indeed have those Legos. And that those Legos are, in fact, not their property. I'm pretty sure the CEO went, look, and the CEO is a narcissist too, so he's not thinking beyond this. Because this is the way narcissists think. He's going, look, if we admit that we took them, not only are we then therefore liable for any civil case that would be involved, but then we're on the hook for the criminal fines. By admitting to it and giving them back, we would be opening ourselves up to the criminal case. They can't accuse this of being a fake raffle without having to explain why they don't own the property. No, can't have that. So you can't go after Ben for the raffle. And you can't give back the Legos now, because now you're on the hook for criminal felony. That's the real issue now. The Legos themselves are now caught up in a criminal investigation that should be going on. And the only reason a criminal investigation isn't currently going on is because, one, Ben's not pressing charges, per se, but two, the police refuse to investigate those charges. Why would they? This kid clearly made a fake raffle with a fake religion to harass this man. Because who owns an actual religion which can then operate a raffle and cares about a Lego set? All of this is for Legos. They don't hear it as it's for $200,000. They hear it as all of it's for a set of Legos. So the police aren't taking it seriously. But by giving back the Legos, you'd be admitting that, in fact, you are liable for those criminal charges. So we have Josh promising that he'll return them. But that comes with caveats. We're about to find out why. And my last assessment on this was, of course there's caveats. Because if you just return the Legos without actually getting anything in return, then you're admitting that you made a mistake. And as we've established up to this point, if I don't remember it, it didn't happen, is the credo of every narcissist. By admitting that it happened, they have to remember it, and that threatens their sense of self. So in order to get away with apologizing and making amends and making this stop without admitting to doing anything, they have to come up with a narrative. Let's see what their attempt is going to be. Appears the audio isn't working. Give me a second here. I need to fix this soon. Do that, and then we do this. Theoretically, that should turn back on the audio. Let's go for it. There we go.
To work with you guys to get the sets back.
This is what I need done. I need a written apology from Brian. I need all the negative comments taken off. I need positive reviews on there to make up for the damage. And then I'll give them back.
Okay, so let's run this back. They need a written apology from Brian. Now, in our last conversation with Ben, Josh made clear that a part of that is saying, hey, let's not call it theft. Legally, he's not wrong. Technically, it's not theft. Functionally, it is. Morally, it is. But legally, not so much. Seems like a reasonable request from that perspective, right? If you just cut out the rest of it. So, he wants a written apology, likely saying, I'm sorry for accusing you of theft. Which would thus absolve him of... And this is before he gives back the Legos. Of course, it would be before he gives back the Legos. Because then he has something to use to prove that you can't go after him for stealing it. I need all the negative comments taken down. Well, one, you don't fully control those negative comments, but there's a reason for it. It's because for every single time this situation has led to a negative comment here, oh shoot, that eats into the I've done nothing wrong camp, as well as the positive reputation this company has built so they can get away with doing this to people. And finally, a given Facebook being taken down. Let's see what that Facebook is.
You're holding my sets hostage.
Yes, they are holding a hostage.
Already? We're not even halfway through the video yet. Yeah, so basically before Brian can get his Star Wars Lego collection back, he has to write Bricks and Minifigs an apology letter for making this face.
Yep. They need this taken down because for as long as it's up, they can't forget that they did it, which means they'll feel shame because evidence proves it happened. Document every interaction you have with a narcissist, because as long as you have evidence, you have the thing they're most allergic to. Because as long as you have evidence, they have to remember that they did it, and then they will feel shame.
Book post. Bricks and Minifigs really doesn't like this Facebook post being up, because in this Facebook post, Brian calls Bricks and Minifigs out for stealing his Lego Star Wars collection.
I'm not apologizing for shit.
I agree, but it's well, here's like where we're at, right? You just write the letter, like get the Legos back.
I walked in there with the best of intent.
This is the interesting part. You hear what he said? Oh, just write the letter and you'll get the Legos back. This is what narcissists count on. That's the reasonable person response. Because that's what a reasonable person would do.
Intentions. Here's proof of my collection in the store. I want it back. And they've done nothing but lie and make my life a living fucking hell over this.
Of course they did. Because if they can get you to give up and shut the fuck up, they can forget you existed and pretend they're good people.
I've gone through 9 months of anxiety, stress, hospital-ridden, medication-taking types of burden. No, I am not apologizing to this fucking asshole.
It sounds.
I want to make this very clear. His reasons might not be sensible. They might make him look like the a-hole. That's the point. Because why wouldn't you give a meaningless apology just to get what you want back? That will be used against him later, too. Oh, we just said we wanted an apology and then we'd give them right back. But if I had given you the apology, you would have used that to not give it back. Narcissists prey upon reasonable people until they become unreasonable people. And then when they are used up and no longer reasonable, the narcissist paints them as the bad guy so that other reasonable people view them as mad and unreasonable and cruel. Let's continue.
It's kind of crazy that Brian would be saying this, but I see where he's coming from. I've gotten to personally see a tiny bit of how this company bullying his family has just torn his entire life apart.
I just want to say thanks, guys. I have to go. I think
But at the same time, if Brian just writes this apology letter to Bricks and Minifigs, he'll get all his Legos back.
I get it. You're asking me to swallow my pride and write this letter, and I get it.
But then Brian told us a bigger reason we shouldn't write this apology letter. Because Brian told us that this apology letter is really a trap. Yeah, this is Josh trying to trick us into giving him a get out of jail free card.
Yes. Of course it is. Like I said, if he can convince people that there was wrong done on both sides, then he didn't do anything wrong. This was just a huge escalation over nothing. and everybody's bad and everybody's wrong, and he can pretend to be an innocent fawn pulled into something he just didn't fully understand, and then he can throw Brandon under the bus and face no consequences. Let's continue.
What I mean by this is, if Brian makes an apology letter to Bricks and Minifigs, then Bricks and Minifigs can now use this letter as written evidence in court that they're not the bad guys, Brian's the bad person. Brian told us that if we give them this get out of jail free card, then they have absolutely no reason to ever give the Legos back. I just want to say, if this is actually what Bricks and Minifigs' plan is, then that's insane. But I really wanted to find out if this is what their plan was. So I decided to tell Josh that Brian is going to send him an apology video.
He makes the apology, then we can get the Legos back like today or tomorrow, you think, or?
Yeah.
Just in case Bricks and Minifigs has evil intentions with this apology video, I wanted to give him something that they couldn't use in court. So I went back to the beginning of the video and took a screenshot of Brian's face and put it into this website. I also uploaded this video of Sheldon.
Hi, I'm Brian Mansell.
And after just a little bit of deep faking, it now looks like this.
Hi, I'm Brian Mansell, and I apologize sincerely for accusing you guys of stealing my Legos. I was wrong, and you were right.
This is the ultimate test. Was Josh being sincere, or was this all just one big trick?
And this is beautiful. Because this is another excellent solution to narcissistic plays. See, whether it was just to soothe his ego or if he did have evil intent, you've provided him something that is personally insulting. He knows what Brian sounds like. He can tell that's not Brian. But it looks enough like Brian to get his hopes up. And he'll wonder if he can still use it. He'll wonder if it's good enough. But some part of his brain will feel mocked because you didn't just fail to give him the letter that he wanted, the very specific thing he wanted, but then you tried some background trickery after he gave you some ground. He said, fine, an apology video will do just fine. And you send him this, something that is not the man in question giving an apology. Oh, this must have pissed Josh off. Because not only can he not use this is not officially an apology from the person he wants, and all of this after you actively tried to wiggle your way out. You are giving him what he asked for, but not what he wanted. And he knows that you know what he wanted.
I want to give it back to him. That's the long and the short of it. We've run me over. I'm good. We got to win Amanda over, right?
You've won me over. You gotta win Amanda over.
Uh-huh.
Apologize to Amanda.
Okay. I guess Brian's just a little worried that you guys are just going to keep postponing it until,
No. You're going to get him. You're going to get him. I'm not going to screw you.
By Josh's reasoning. Hear that. Hear that. I'm not gonna screw you. Do you hear that smile in his voice? That's a narcissist that thinks he's clever. This is some Doflamingo level nonsense with like 1/10 the intellect. See, that's a whole One Piece reference I'm not going to get into. But the short version is that, yeah, he is going to screw them. Or at least try. But to him, I'm going to explain the narcissist logic here. You played a very specific game. You technically gave him what he asked for. But you didn't give him what he wanted. You think you're smart. You think you're clever. You're playing little games. Oh, yeah? We'll show you. We'll show you. Want to play your little games of trickery? I'm going to trick you, and then you're going to go to jail, and then I don't have to deal with you.
You have my word. That's not who I am.
uh-huh.
So before
And there it is. Did you feel that? Did you hear it in the background? We're sorry we did a fake raffle. He's trying to get you to confess to faking the raffle so he can get out of the criminal charges. Now, to be fair, you do have the paperwork proving it was a real raffle. But if he has you admitting that it was fake, it doesn't matter what the paperwork says. What matters is he has a confession. One he can use to save his bacon and his reputation. He's playing stupid word games. But I need to clarify. I honestly think... How do I explain this? While he is trying to get you to admit it's fake, I also think he's just kind of hoping that he can get you to confess for his own sake. Because I still don't think, even if you have all the paperwork, I don't think he believes you were really willing to do that. That somehow you had a religion in this state that could run a raffle for the thing that would... There's no way. There's no way Brian got in contact with somebody who can do something like that, because he's used to that kind of stuff not happening, for one, and for two, requiring a whole lot of extra steps nobody would go through. Again, Josh, you should have just given him his Legos back. This could have all been over.
before we can get the Legos back, Josh made up one new thing I have to do. I have to apologize to Amanda for my raffle being fake, even though I put in a lot of effort to make sure my raffle was actually real. I don't know. It almost feels like another trap.
It is. And again, I'm going to say something honest with you. You could show up to his house with the paperwork to prove it was legit, and he would still think it was a fake raffle. Because if you have a real raffle and you really have him on the hook for criminal charges, that would mean he did something wrong. And he can't admit. What have we learned? If I don't remember it, it didn't happen. And if you come with evidence that it happened, you have to shut up so I can forget about it so that it didn't happen. This isn't the only thing narcissists do, but this is the go-to pipeline for how narcissists get away with things. I will actively choose to forget that I did a thing, so that way I don't feel I've done anything wrong, because if I don't remember it, it didn't happen. Therefore, I'm innocent. If you bring evidence that I did do a thing, well, then you're going to have to shut up about that, because I'm trying to forget about it so that it didn't happen. And if you want to punish me for doing it, I will hurt you to protect myself, so that way I can get you to shut up about it, so I can get back to forgetting about it, so that way it didn't happen. This is what I refer to as the narcissist's arms race. If you don't say anything, the arms race never begins. And until the moment you shut up, the arms race never stops.
The employee we brainwashed from before told us that the owners are coming up with schemes to try to get us arrested.
After you left, I got a call from my boss, and it was like, how do we get them arrested? How do we
Dang.
get them arrested?
Maybe Josh is saying this to trick me into going back into the store so Amanda can call the police on me and have me arrested. But I had to find out for sure.
Can you give me permission to go into the store to apologize to her? To make peace? Okay.
Another fucking lie.
Hi Amanda, how's it going? We came to make peace, and we talked to Josh. He told us to come back and make peace with you. Is it okay?
It turns out I was right. This was a trap. Bricks and Minifigs doesn't care about giving us the Legos back. They just want to get us arrested.
There was a gentleman who was trespassed off the property maybe 4 or 5 days ago, and he's literally standing right in front of the store. Right here in the store in front of me.
We only have a very small amount of time before the police arrest us. So, we decided to use this time to see if we can finally convince Amanda to make peace with us.
I guess before they get here, we just wanted to talk to you. I think simply you would like to have peace around
Yes. Not in a harassing way, not in a very peaceful way.
That'd be okay with you.
making peace with us did not seem like a priority for Amanda.
Of course it
Priority was
wasn't.
to get us arrested.
Yep. She's over and done with too. No. And again, I want to make this clear. I don't think Amanda's in on this. I don't think Josh even told Amanda they were coming. As far as Amanda is concerned, you've burned any and all goodwill with her by this point. Especially because, I don't know if the camera being 2019 for the previous footage was that, but this has been ongoing for her. She has had you repeatedly at her store doing all kinds of crap. You've burned all goodwill with her. She's just trying to run a business, and you guys have done nothing but make her life hard. As far as she's concerned, your good credibility doesn't exist. Even if you could prove that Josh, in fact, did tell you to come here to apologize, even if he didn't tell her, because, again, him keeping her in the dark is vital and important, even if that was the case, yeah, she's not gonna listen to you. I don't blame Amanda. I don't think she's in on it. I think she bought hook, line, and sinker Josh's little story. She's been kept in the dark, and that she's tired of Ben's shenanigans and doesn't want to hear it. Can you blame her? Everything has gotten so absurd since Ben arrived that of course she's not going to listen. What's more convincing? That this lunatic doing all of these things, including a raffle to get rid of the property of your store, is somehow the good guy saving the day? Or that your boss man is being harassed by some rando who thinks he knows what the fuck's going on? I know which one I'd pick if I were in her position.
One-page document. If you need to go over it, like, you need to take your time.
They have, like, the papers they're trying to get me to sign, it literally just says P Street. I don't know who this other guy is, apparently.
He's the treaty guy.
Treaty guy.
He has some kind of like treaty on a scroll.
Well, do we stick around for the cops?
I'm going to state something else. The absurdity with which they're doing this is deserved. It is in also a sense a mockery of the people they're going after. But because it's so absurd, they're making it harder and harder for the police to take them seriously. They are genuinely starting to assume that these are just some kids causing trouble for viral views. Especially when they hear something about a treaty on a scroll. This screams a bunch of Generation Z kids turning this into a whole production for clicks and social media likes. This doesn't sound like a real thing. This sounds like a bunch of kids causing problems for innocent people. I don't actually blame the police for not engaging.
And so we waited for the police to show up. And they never showed up. But I guess it makes sense. I mean, the last time the police
Well,
showed up,
you also stepped outside the store, so since you stepped outside the store, man.
scared the police so much that they had to run away. I think they're scared to come back.
Dude, where the heck are these cops?
Hi, Josh.
Ben, how's it going?
It's good. So we walked in, we were like, hey, we're sorry. We have permission to come back here and like apologize. And she's like, I'm calling the cops. And she like starts.
Josh
blowing
now
up on us.
realizes that his last-ditch plan to get me arrested, well, that plan didn't work.
I'm sorry Amanda did that. Thank you for doing that.
It looks like Josh has no other choice than to give Brian his family's Legos back.
You apologize, and it's up to them to accept. So let's cross Amanda off that checklist. Let's get this done.
And now that our work here is done,
There is another option that I'm going to extend as an olive branch to Josh. I'm not going to assume this is true, so if it's not, that's fine, but let's assume the best of Josh for just a moment here. It's entirely possible that the police called Josh and said, hey, the guy's back at your store again. Did you give him permission to be there? And Josh went, oh, yeah, no, I actually did this time. I didn't expect them to show up, so don't worry about it. It's fine. Why? Because it makes him seem reasonable. Maybe that was a genuine attempt to convince Ben that he is a reasonable man. Maybe. We'll see.
We decided to head back to Los Angeles. It's too late to pick up the Legos today, but tomorrow, they're finally gonna give this family their Legos back. And now it's tomorrow. But the store has Brian's phone number blocked, so he can't call them. So instead, I called the store to see how Brian could pick up his Lego sets.
I was just wondering if you guys are still down to get the Legos back today.
I think. I just want to make sure everything's properly.
The guy I'm on the phone with was trying as hard as he could to stall. It turns out that this is actually the same guy in the security camera footage that kicked the old owner out of the store. Google says his name is Brandon Best, and apparently he's co-owners of this franchise along with Joshua Johnson. But for some mystery reason, they weren't able to give the Legos back today. Now it's Monday.
Today is Monday.
See, again, I want to assume that right about now, like Josh probably was, for a brief moment, going to give back the Legos. To seem reasonable, to pave this over and bury it. And it was either Brandon or the CEO that drew his attention that, well, shoot, if we give them back, we're admitting that we did in fact do that. And if we admit to that, then we are liable for those felony charges. Yeah.
Hey, I was just calling to see if you guys are still down to give the Legos back today.
Please tell me it doesn't. This is a 1 week later. Okay. Uh-huh. So, let me make this clear. Based on my reading thus far, not only are they trying to put this off because they don't want to admit that they took the Legos, because then they would be criminally liable for stealing from a lottery, and they don't trust him not to press charges on that, but also, they're hoping that they have placated this weirdo who goes further than anybody enough where he will eventually just quietly forget about Ben's Legos and leaves them the fuck alone. I mean, after all, he hasn't bothered them in weeks. Why would he when he's waiting on them? Funny how that works, isn't it? A whole month with no shenanigans. They feel like they've finally gotten him tamed. They just have to keep him on a leash until they can figure out what else to do. And while they're doing that, they will get anything under control they need to. They will see if they can't get ahead of these felony charges, which, trust me, I don't doubt for a moment that they aren't Googling him, that they aren't looking for him, that they aren't trying to find some way around this guy to get around the felony charges he currently has over their head. Because he's currently extorting them and all of their usual methods aren't working. But I have another reason why I suspect that'll be the case. We'll deal with that when we get to it.
He said, probably won't be able to talk tonight. What the heck? Why do they keep postponing this?
Because they're studying you. They have realized they are not dealing with a normal person. They are realizing they are dealing with somebody they cannot easily control. And they need to get ahead of this, control the narrative, and get everybody you could potentially use against them on their side. They need to get their story straight so they can play the victim. And get you into a state of mind for everybody else where nothing you say or do will have you believed. They're digging into every single thing you did to see if you did anything suspicious or shady. They want to prove that your franchises and your corporation aren't real. They want to prove that your religion doesn't exist in Oregon. They want to prove that your raffle was fake and illegal. They want to prove somehow that Brian put you all up to this so they can go after Brian for this. They are looking for anything to shut you down, shut you up, and get rid of you. And so far, telling you that they are going to totally give you those Legos any day now, bro. That's been enough to at least keep you out of their hair while they figure out what they want to do. And the fact that they're sending you right to voicemail, yeah, they don't want to talk to you, because they know they can't lie to you. They know they can't feed you a line or misdirect you or threaten and intimidate you. They are aware that no interaction with you will become the transaction that gives them what they want. Don't expect to hear from them again until they know that they have control of the situation again.
What the heck? Yesterday he said he would call me today. Over a month now, and yeah, I've gotten no answer.
And finally, after a really long amount of time, they finally answered my call.
I'm not going to distribute those things at this point. We've kept them on hold for this long, so.
I've just been told that Bricks and Minifigs is no longer going to give Brian his Legos back like they promised. And at this moment...
And here is where they figured out they're out. Or they feel they have enough control of the situation where they can inform you of the decision they had already made. That they were never going to give them back, because that would mean they stole from a lottery, which means they would have to answer how they didn't steal from a lottery, which would then be an admission that they took property on consignment that wasn't under their company and sold it. They finally feel they have enough control over the situation, have spoken to enough people they know and in the area at large, to control the flow of information once more, and therefore they are back to feeling secure, at peace. And do you want to know how they came to that? Because you were a reasonable person for a change. You were willing to listen to reason. When you were told, hey, don't worry, we'll get you those Legos, you did what any normal person would do, which is wait to hear back. When dealing with a narcissist, extract yourself from the situation without announcement and without telling anyone your plans. Do it as secretively as you can, because if you do it in the open, they will try to stop you or control how it is seen. If you must leave a narcissist, blindside them with it. Or do it in a way where their last action to control you makes them unmistakably the bad guy. And then, do not try and bridge that gap again. That said, if you have been finding yourself in a knockdown, drag-out war with a narcissist, never take the reasonable road. Never act like a reasonable person once you begin this war. They will attempt to use that to gain control of the situation. I personally do not view myself as somebody who is a man of war. I am content to leave alone and be left alone. I genuinely tend not to see a point in actively seeking conflict with people. It seems like a bad time. So now that I know how to recognize narcissists, I personally will be trying to avoid them and extracting myself whenever I run into one. Because I know better. Anyway.
I finally realized what I did wrong. Josh said we could get the Legos back once we make peace with Amanda, but we never actually really made peace with her.
And I'm not signing.
I'm sorry. I must have spoiled that for you. I seem to have implied that Reckless Ben is a reasonable person. In case you didn't watch the previous video, Reckless Ben is a madman. You should have given him back the Legos, Josh.
Nothing from anybody.
Now it all makes sense. Unless we can somehow find a way to make peace with Amanda, we are never getting these Legos back. So, I printed out a more official-looking peace treaty and traveled from Los Angeles all the way back to Bricks and Minifigs in Oregon.
Well, I made it to Oregon. Hopefully, I can get Amanda to sign the peace treaty this time, and we can finally get the Legos back.
Hello. What? Oh, no, Josh told me to come back. I think we didn't get the Legos back because you didn't sign the peace treaty. You want to call Josh?
No, I'm calling the police.
Bricks and Minifigs is still doing the same thing they've always done. They're still trying to get me arrested just to avoid giving the Legos back. The problem with their plan, though, is Bricks and Minifigs is never going to be able to arrest me because I have a get-out-of-jail-free card. And I've actually had this card the entire video.
You should have given him the Legos back, Josh.
I just haven't used it yet. Let's rewind all the way to the beginning so I can show you what I mean.
So basically, my friend said that you guys have some of his Legos, I think?
Nope, it was even before this. Right here, I made a contract with Amanda that says I, Ben Schneider, should not be trespassed, and all of these legal words, for any circumstance whatsoever, and for literally any reason. They cannot trespass me. And it's effective for the next 10 years. But this only really works as a get-out-of-jail-free card if I can get Amanda to sign it. But how the heck am I gonna do that?
You should have given him the Legos back, Josh.
Hi, sorry, I got a delivery. Can I get a signature?
For some reason, Amanda just started signing our contract without even reading it.
Thank you so much.
In America, we have a duty to read contracts law, which states that you have to read a contract before you sign it. And if you forget to read it, or you just choose not to read it, it's your fault and you still have to do everything the contract says. So even though Amanda didn't read it, she signed it, so she has to follow everything. Including a clause that says for every police officer she calls on me, she owes me $5,000 in liquidated damages. So let's fast forward and see how much Amanda owes me. We got 5,000, keep going, 10,000, 15,000, 20,000, 25,000, 30,000, 35,000, $40,000. Okay, I think that's all the times Amanda called the police on me, but if I'm gonna be honest, even though Amanda has been helping cover up this giant theft, I still kind of feel bad for her that she owes us $40,000. I mean, that's a lot of money. So I'm going to stop continuing to trick her, and I'm finally going to complain about the contract. Once Amanda sees the agreement she's in, she'll finally realize it's not worth it to continue racking up this $5,000 debt. Instead, a much easier option would be we team up together to convince corporate to give Brian his Legos back.
You should have given him the Legos, Josh. I'm going to explain why this is beautiful. Okay? He has been cooperative up to this point in time and not shared that contract. That contract may or may not actually be legally binding. I don't know in this particular case. But I don't think that matters. Because what matters here is that would be a civil suit. And no, I'm not being cheeky. I actually think it would be a civil suit. Which they would then have to sue him. Therefore, it's like no matter how he looks at this, it's like this man went to lengths no sensible person should, because sensible people don't win these. Sensible people are stomped on and manipulated by narcissists.
I'm calling the police because you've already been trespassed off the premises.
Well, you don't want to owe $5,000 more, do you?
I don't owe anything, and I'm asking you for like the millionth time you need to leave.
You did say that I'm allowed to be here. You signed a document. You did it?
I never once said you were allowed to be here.
Well, then whose signature is this then?
That is not my signature.
It's not?
Why do you have anything to do with signatures here?
This poor woman, I actually genuinely think that she got blindsided by this, and she didn't deserve this. She's not a bad person. She bought a line, and she's trying to run a company, and she's tired of this bullcrap. I feel genuine compassion for Amanda here. I don't think she was in on it at all. And you know what? Maybe she is a narcissist. I haven't seen any signs of it. But maybe she is one of the people in on this and knew. I don't think she did, though. I think she's just a useful idiot. And I mean no harm to her that way. I don't think she knows what's going on. She believed what she was told by Brandon and Josh and has been cooperative ever since. That's what I think it is. Because their version makes sense and it's technically legally correct. But it's not doing her any favors. That's what pulls people into the madness that is required to take care of a narcissist. See, once somebody starts coming for a narcissist in full, lots of innocent people get caught in the crossfire. Because guess what? That's the point of innocent people in the minds of a narcissist. Innocent people are there to play loyal foot soldiers and decoys while they get away with whatever they want. They are the innocent blood that is on your hands if you try to stop the narcissist. That's why you have to be utterly insane to go after a narcissist. Think about how many people you have to hurt and how much damage you have to do to get to a narcissist. Let's continue.
Because you signed this, right?
No, I did not.
Is that not your signature?
So, no, it's not. And I'd like to know how you guys got a signature that's even close to mine.
Well, it says every time you call the cops, you owe us $5,000 for like punitive damages, but...
So, really?
Well, I'm just following the contract that you signed.
Okay.
Now that Amanda knows she can't call the cops on me just for being here anymore, I decided to call Josh to update him on how making peace with Amanda is going.
Hey, I just went back to try to apologize to Amanda, and...
What Josh said next, I was not ready for.
Dude, when we took over that store, there was nothing in that store.
Which they have video proving the contrary, but go right on ahead.
The shelves were empty.
If I don't remember it, it didn't happen.
I don't know why you guys are thinking we're the bad guys.
How dare you think we're the bad guys? We didn't do anything wrong.
Josh's story has now completely changed. Now he's saying even if I'm able to make peace with Amanda, they still won't be able to give me the Legos back because...
You should have given them the Legos back, Josh.
they never even had the Legos to begin with.
Well, if Josh is telling the truth, then why did Josh say this to us last time? I mean, what stuff of ours would he be giving?
Josh, you told them you had them off-site. Did you lie, Josh? Why did you lie, Josh? Oh, I forgot. You don't do the bad thing, do you, Josh? You don't lie to people. Like telling them that when you took over the store, the liability for the consignment would be on you. You wouldn't have told a fib, would you? No, not Josh. Josh is such an honest man. That's why he swore on God.
Back if none of our stuff was even ever in his store. We're like, what about this?
I'm happy to go open that stupid cupboard and you can have all the sets in there. I want to give it back to him. I'm happy to give you the inventory. Give the inventory to Brian. I'll give it back. I'm not gonna screw you. You have my word.
You should have given them the Legos back, Josh.
That's not who I am. I promise you. I swear to God. I promise you I'll get everything.
I mean, Josh is on video swearing to God and on everything he'll give us the Legos back. But now, for some reason, he never even had the Legos. But this makes no sense.
Dude, the shelves were empty.
So I decided to remind him of all of these examples where he claims they do have Brian's Legos in the store still. And this was his response.
I never said that.
If I don't remember it, it never happened.
Yeah, you did.
Give it, Dan. If you're fucking kidding it.
Your opinion. And this right here was one of the linchpins that guaranteed I had to make this video, and the one before it. Narcissists believe that perception is reality. Your perception is your reality, their perception is their reality, and that's why if they don't remember it, it didn't happen because they're not perceiving it. Everything in their mind is he said, she said. And as long as they have more credibility, more influence, more wealth, more power than you, then what they did is just your opinion, bro. It's wrong because I feel that it's wrong. Because if I did something wrong, then I would remember doing it, but I don't. So stop reminding me that I did it and shut up. We are now going to get into an extinction burst event.
It's wrong. And if you want to test your fucking opinion, let's go enforce it. Who enforces the law?
The court. So
Exactly.
so you're saying that.
It's just a
So you're saying.
difference of opinion.
So basically, what you're saying is I'm wrong, but.
Ooh. Do you hear all this? Do you hear all that anger? Do you see all that? And yet he's still trying to do what? Right, guide him back to what a reasonable person would do. Take him to court, where he has the advantage and he knows he can drag this man through hell for daring to make him think about the thing he didn't do wrong. Let's continue.
You can sue me for it, is what you're saying.
Yeah, that's the long and the short of it.
So you know you're wrong. So you know that you stole the Legos then.
Let's go to court then.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay, is that what you want?
Yeah.
You really want that?
I mean, I don't. I would like to just get the Legos back, but if that's what you want, I mean, it seems like this is what you want. I'm giving you every out that I can, but.
And there it is. Josh is trying to play the defensive. But Ben's refusal to let this go has forced him to become proactive. He needs to instigate Ben taking action against him so he can play the victim. He can't just own up to it because then he would have done something wrong. He can't go and sue somebody. He needs to be the one getting sued. Because then he can be the victim. Then he's done nothing wrong. He's not the aggressor. He's being aggressed. That makes you the bad guy. But he needs to get you to do it.
Dang.
Don't go down the route. It doesn't really matter because
Don't go down that route, though. Doesn't really matter, because he doesn't actually want to go to court, because then he'd have to actually pay that money and actually have to address it. And if you can prove in civil court, even if you pay more than is needed for the set, you can charge him for stealing from the lottery, which I'm sure he's been told about by his CEO at this point. Because you still have those felony charges you can press over him.
Just want to get the Legos back. They're Brian's Legos. Give them back. It's pretty easy.
It's kind of funny that this entire video, Josh has just been begging me to sue him. But the second I agree to it, his attitude completely changes.
You should have given them back the Legos, Josh.
It's almost like Josh doesn't want me to sue him, and the only reason he's saying that is because he knows that by saying it, he can get away with his crimes. But now that Josh thinks that there's a chance I might actually sue him, he's getting scared. In fact, he said if I do sue him, he's gonna tell the world that I'm the one that stole the Legos.
Not sharing this footage until the end of what happens in this video was Ben's smartest move. Because if he had released any of this footage before all of this was done, oh, you have no concept of what would have happened. He would never have gotten these candid moments, never would have gotten them admitting to any of this.
You can f*** yourself.
Dang.
You stole them, bitch.
I stole the Legos?
Yeah, you're a fucking thief.
Dang. Okay.
You can shut the fuck up. That's your fucking choice.
Do what you're told and shut the fuck up. What did I tell you from moment one? The goal was never reasonable discourse. The goal was never that what they did was perfectly fine and they have an explanation. They have been bullying people into silence and they're trying to get them to shut the fuck up. And there he did it to Ben. He's tried every other route to get Ben to shut the fuck up. It hasn't worked. And now here's Ben again, continuing to be defiant to the threats, the coercion, the influence that Josh seems to think he has. And what is he demanding from Ben? Simply that the boy shut the fuck up. Don't tell anyone that we're fucking over your shit, or we'll fucking kill you. This is the next step of the narcissist arms race. They have tried every single alternative to try and get Ben to back off from this, including leading him by the frickin' neck and putting it off, buying as much time as they could, hoping he would forget, hoping he would leave it alone, hoping he would forget so that it never happened. Let's continue.
So basically, these are my two options. I can do what Josh wants me to do and shut up, which I can say right now I'm definitely not doing that. So what's the alternative? I can, I guess, raise hundreds of thousands of dollars somehow and then maybe spend 3 to 4 years in court fighting them, and somehow if I win, then we can finally get the family their Legos back. Yeah, both of these options suck. Or maybe I can somehow find a way to engineer a third option, which I call option number 3.
I love watching a madman at work. Let's go back to something Brian said in part 1. He felt like he didn't have any other options other than option 1 and option 2. That is what I refer to as the false dichotomy. Narcissists will provide you 2 roads. Only 2. Compliance and the cost of non-compliance. Here's what you're going to do because the alternative is horrible for you. Give me what I want, or I will enact the punishments on you. That works on most reasonable people because usually most reasonable people pick option 1. And foolish and unreasonable people usually pick option 2 at great personal cost to get basically nowhere. And then there are the madmen. Godspeed to the madman.
Small claims court. Think about it. Small claims court is basically just like big boy court, except it costs basically nothing, and you get a judgment pretty much instantly. So I gathered my friends around a campfire to tell them about option number 3.
One of the thoughts you had was taking the small claims court, right?
No, because it's way too much money to take to the small claims court.
You can't take someone to small claims court, man, for $200,000.
Yeah, it's 12,000 at the most, right? 12,500.
Everyone hated option number 3. And I guess it makes sense. We ended up looking it up, and you can actually only sue for $10,000 at the most. So if we go with option number 3, Brian actually could win $10,000 pretty easily, but then this is what would happen to his $190,000. But I'm not giving up. We just need to get creative.
Theoretically, if you wanted to, could you take them to small claims court?
If you wanted to limit it.
If I wanted to limit it.
But you would at least get $10,000 out of that, though, right?
We could, but it would be giving up $100,000 more, you know?
So here's the here's the pitch.
Here we go.
What if
Godspeed to the madman.
we have 10 people sue 10 different times for $10,000 and we get $100,000? Well, why not?
The reason that this will never work is because of a legal term called claim splitting.
Yeah, so it turns out my idea is called claim splitting, which is when a civil plaintiff splits one lawsuit into 2 or more lawsuits, and that is illegal.
Yes, if 10 different people sue and win money for one crime, then that is illegal. But we have already established that if one person sues for this crime, it is a very easy win. So what if this exact scenario just so happens to happen 10 different times? Think about it. If 10 different people get their Legos stolen by Bricks and Minifigs, all 10 people can individually sue, and it turns out that that is actually not considered claim splitting. So basically, if I can find 10 different victims of Bricks and Minifigs, my plan will work. And maybe I don't have to find 10 victims. Maybe I can create them.
This is part of why this is a whole problem. Because what you're about to see is entirely legal. What you're about to see is the exact kind of this is 100% legal we've already seen from Ben. But it's at a scale that only a narcissist would think to do. A narcissist will understand what this is the moment they see it. But they have to see it to know it, don't they? Well, shoot. Ain't that a thing?
Starting with myself. First, I signed up for a credit card, and then used that credit card to walk into the bank and take out a $10,000 loan. I then used this $10,000 to buy a few Lego sets from Brian, specifically these Lego sets, and according to the legal paperwork, they're still Brian's to sell to me. But just in case Bricks and Minifigs tries to argue that for some reason this wasn't a legal sale, I hired a public notary to officially approve the purchase.
It's official, we have a public notary approving it. Notary public. We have a notary public approving it. Now I own these Lego sets now, right?
Once I stamp it, it's all yours.
Here we go.
Pleasure. Congratulations.
It looks like I legally now have $10,000 worth of inventory inside this Bricks and Minifigs store. So I wrote a very stern demand letter to Bricks and Minifigs demanding that they give me all of my $10,000 of Legos back. And they never got back to me.
Of course they didn't. No, what do I mean by of course they didn't? Well, they've seen you do insane things before. But they're not really reading messages from you anymore. They're waiting for you to take them to court. Big boy court. Proper large-scale court. they were prepared for a massive lawsuit. In fact, during this time, well, we'll get to that.
So, I'm going to sue them in small claims court, completely separate of Brian. Now that there's 2 crimes committed against 2 completely separate victims, this is not considered claim splitting. So this is when I thought, if the plan works this well for me, it should also work this well for all my friends. So I signed up for a ton of more credit cards, took out a bunch of more money, and each of my friends bought $10,000 worth of Brian's Lego sets.
$10,000 for you? Here you go. Thank you. You felt the need to bow.
This is when we realized there's actually a big problem with our plan because we're now all $10,000 in debt, and if we don't pay the banks back soon, the interest is gonna destroy us. Dude, what's the problem?
$10,000 in debt.
Well, how do we solve this, dude? What do we do? We just ask our friends if they have like money to like loan us.
Tommy, I'm in a lot of debt, and I just wanted to know if you have $10,000 to loan me. No.
What?
Dang.
Oh.
Well, it's worth a try. Michael, do you have $10,000 to loan me?
But this is when we remembered that our friend Brian just made about $100,000 from all the Lego sets he just sold us. I bet he has extra money he could lend us. So we gave Brian a call.
So we're in a really weird pickle right now.
I just need $10,000, that's all. I'll give it back. This is weird. I know, it's crazy, but like...
See about it.
Oh, okay.
Brian legally gave each of us a $10,000 loan, which allows us to now pay back the banks to avoid interest. And it says in the paperwork that once we win these court cases against Bricks and Minifigs, we'll pay Brian back.
Yeah, we promise once we win this lawsuit, we'll pay you back.
Yeah, we'll pay you right back.
And if you're thinking, wait, how is all of this legal? There has to be some type of catch. And you're right, there is. It's called sales tax. But luckily for us in Oregon, there is no sales tax. It's one of the only states that doesn't have it. This means that we can just keep selling Lego sets back and forth to each other over and over for free.
Well, I think everyone's in. Should we start? You're gonna go to the top and start a filing.
But I haven't even told you guys the best part yet. The best part is that all of this is another flashback. Yeah, all of this happened a month ago. So now let's fast forward.
Do you see what I mean? During this time, they were trying to drag their feet. They weren't gonna return any calls from Ben. They were trying to actively avoid him. He picked up on that. And so he put something in motion. You should have given them back the Legos, Josh. 'Cause now what you're running into is a madman who gave you a chance. You were given so many chances. And even as of the phone call where you're accusing him of stealing the Legos, well, what do you know? By the time you accused him of stealing them, he was already an owner and had already filed in Small's claims court for property that is his. While you were accusing him of theft, he already owned his Legos. Should have given him back the Legos, Josh.
Forward all the way back to present day, where I'm still talking to Josh on the phone. And yeah, Josh has no clue that we've been preparing all of these court cases against him for the last month. He's about...
And I want to make this clear. This is what I mean when I tell people never tell a narcissist what you're doing when you're trying to remove yourself from the situation. Josh is about to get completely blindsided by this because he thought you were a reasonable person. He thought there'd be signs that you were going to do this. He thought you were finally behaving yourself. That's what you thought, wasn't it, Josh? Oh, wow, that I finally got them to calm down. I can do my research. I can get ahead of the curve on this. I can control the narrative. This kid's nuts. Of course I'm the victim. Nobody would do all of this. Nobody. He's running a clearly fake raffle. You should have given them back the Legos, Josh. Because right now, you're just trying to forget this all happened. Right as at the time of this phone call, before he called you on this, before he came back full force, you were wanting him to forget this ever happened and to disappear. That's my speculation, of course, provided you're a narcissist. See, even if your CEO and Brandon are also narcissists, the general game plan is, if you can make Ben forget this ever happened, then the charges that are against you, the felony charges, they'll never get pressed. Brian goes back to having nobody in his corner to back him up. And after all that, you can finally get back to just doing what you love. Robbing from old people. Free money. It can finally go back to what it was supposed to be before all of this kicked off. Back when Brian was the only one who knew, and you could get away with it. This isn't some Sherlock Holmes or Scooby-Doo. It's not a secret. You're not as smart as you think you are. You're just very good at controlling information for a small population of people who trust you because you put on a nice smile, you know how to talk to them, and you know how to play stupid. You know how to appeal to the instinct in the human mind that you're a reasonable guy who just needs a normal conversation. I wonder how much of your life you've gotten away with that illusion.
To be in for the surprise of his life.
You have, like, I guess until the store closes, I guess, to get the Legos back if that's the way you want to go. But if not, I guess we'll serve the papers today and then go to court.
How are you going to serve the papers today?
No, figure it out.
That's not how it works. Are you young? That's not how the world works.
It's not how the world works? Well, we're going to do it. We're going to make the world work that way today.
Well, Bricks and Minifigs.
I want you to think about it. The way he said that's not how the world works. That's a man who's completely at a loss for what's about to happen. He's used to reasonable people. He's expecting a big boy lawsuit with lots of paperwork in advance and a whole lot of lawyers and a whole lot of money getting sent out. He doesn't know. He thinks he's well ahead of it and that he has time to prepare for what comes next. Saying that you're going to serve it today, he doesn't believe you. Because who in the hell, after all of this, after all this talk about waiting patiently for the Legos, already has a big claim ready to file with no other paperwork, no other money invested? Who possibly could do that? Well, shoot. Let's find out.
Figs knows the deal. Get the Legos back before the store closes, or they get served court papers. And now we wait. And the waiting got kind of boring, so I'm going to spend the rest of the day promoting my We Steal From Old People company. Go to www.westealfromoldpeople.com for some awesome merch. And if Bricks and Minifigs calls the police on me for doing this, then they owe me $5,000 more. I've been advertising my company for a pretty long time now, and I've gotten no reaction from Bricks and Minifigs. So, I'm sending in a secret undercover agent to see how they're handling the situation from the inside.
Oh no!
Well, they closed early on us. I think they're afraid of my lawsuit.
Yep. You promised you'd deliver your lawsuit before they closed today. So what did they do? They closed before normal operating hours. Because clearly, if they can just rush to shut the store down, knowing you're on your way, and knowing they can't call the cops on you, that's how they can shut you up. That's how they can shut you out. That's how they can forget about you and pretend it never happened. They just have to lock you out for so long, you either get tired, bored, or frustrated, and either make a mistake or disappear. Let's go.
So, we decided to go bowling again. Oh, no way, no way, no way. Shut up. Oh my god!
It's the next day now, and you know what that means? It's go time.
It's go time.
The funniest part about yesterday was when I was talking to Josh on the phone, he totally thinks that I just made all of this up in the moment. When the actual reality is, we've been planning this court case for months. But I'm not complaining, because if Josh thinks it's fake, then he probably won't show up to court. And if Josh doesn't show up to court, we just win by default. So before I serve him any court papers,
I'm going to make this next part clear. You didn't actually have to do the thing you're about to do. You didn't have to. It helped. Trust me, it did help, but it wasn't actually required. Because what's about to happen is beautiful.
First, gonna confirm Josh's beliefs and do something super duper fake. Like give him a world record for the most amount of Legos ever stolen.
Not everyone can say that they're the best in the world. It's something.
Exactly.
You ready? Hi.
Hello.
I am Ryan with Guinness World Record Association, and I think you're expecting this actually. This is an award for most Legos stolen by any company in the world.
Amanda is so fucking done. I'm so sorry you got caught in this, Amanda. You didn't deserve this. And if you hate him for the rest of your life, I get it. I do. I hope you could laugh about this one day, Amanda. I hope that you don't get wrapped up in this. I hope it doesn't ruin your life and that you can laugh about this one day. 'Cause yeah, you've been lied to. You didn't know any of this when it started. And of course, why would you believe it? No sensible person would ever believe what's currently going on.
Stolen by a single franchise.
Is that what it says?
Mm-hmm. I'm definitely
Yeah.
not hanging that up.
You don't know anything about this.
I have no idea of anything about that.
Okay. I guess
there a manager?
call
I am
the.
the manager.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And you weren't expecting it?
I was not expecting it.
Success. Anything that gets delivered to the store now, Bricks and Minifigs will probably also think it's fake, which is now perfect timing to serve all of these real court papers. But to do this, I need a lot of people. So I started recruiting some people with a game of hacky sack.
Here's your legal paperwork.
You have been served.
The first lawsuit has officially been served. Good luck, guys.
Here's my resume.
Everything was going exactly to plan.
I am now going to elaborate on why the additional bit of subterfuge helped but was not necessary. First off, Ben only ever does one antic a day, so that kind of diffused the situation there. Like, okay, fine, Ben did the Guinness book. He's frickin' with us again. Fine, and we can't trespass him because of the contract. Whatever. Alright? But you need to understand, this is, from all I can understand of how he's presented the timeline, 2 days after he said, oh, I'll just serve you guys tomorrow, it's fine. Do you understand that that is such an outlandish thing without the 1 month of proper context that if he doesn't believe a raffle held by your oddly legitimate church was the real deal, because he doesn't. He will never believe that you have a real church. Even if you have all the paperwork in front of him, he will never believe it. If he doesn't believe that, and he doesn't believe it's just so many other aspects of this, which, because who would? I bet he doesn't even believe the contract you had Amanda sign at this point. And he's convinced himself he hasn't stolen anything, so he doesn't believe that part of it either. But, like, let's be real. you providing court paperwork 2 days after the fact, when he's already accepted that's not a possibility, a narcissist can't handle that. He would refuse to believe they're fake. The benefit of the Guinness isn't that he won't think they're real, it's that he won't send them up to the police to see if they're real. 10 lawsuits, all in one day, on the same day you get a fake Guinness Book of World Records. That's why it helped. He wasn't going to think they were real either way. He was always going to think they were fake. But by sending that fake award first, you make it so he's less likely to investigate them. Which is exactly what you need in a position like this. You already had one fake thing delivered to his store today, and he already knows in his mind that big boy lawsuits, they don't drop off overnight. And 10 of them in one day, that's just outlandish. Who would ever believe it? And yet...
And, well, until this happened.
Yeah, Mark, hurry! Yo, can we just talk real quick?
I think Josh told this employee to close down the store early to avoid any more lawsuits coming in.
Yeah, she closed. As soon as she saw us pull up, she started closing up.
So for the rest of the day, I'm going to continue to advertise my We Steal From Old People company at www.westealfromoldpeople.com.
Buy their shirts. Buy their shirts. You should have given them the Legos, Josh. You should have given them the Legos, Josh.
I'm not getting many sales yet, but hopefully if I keep up all this advertising, people will eventually start believing in my company.
Yeah, we had to close early today, so basically...
Are you guys gonna be open tomorrow, though?
I don't know. So there's been some guy like harassing us because well, a lot of the Legos that we sell here are actually stolen Legos. Like we just steal the Legos.
Yeah.
Anyways, we ended up getting the rest of the court papers served, and now I'm just gonna fast forward a few months, and Bricks and Minifigs hasn't responded to a single court case we submitted against them. So I called the court to see what the next steps were.
Okay, so I don't see that there's been a response from anybody in the case. Since they didn't respond, you can move forward with a motion for default judgment.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you so much.
Yes, since Bricks and Minifigs didn't respond, looks like we win by default.
Congratulations, you won the court case.
Wait, what? They really thought it was fake.
Yeah.
We did it! Hey, that's fucking crazy, dude. No way! Yes!
Yeah. Well, I think now it's time to go all the way back to Bricks and Minifigs and collect our money. And we got a cute little piggy bank here that they can put the money in.
And so, I traveled all the way back to Oregon.
You should have given them the Legos, Josh.
To finally collect my money. It truly is a beautiful ending. This entire video, Bricks and Minifigs has been begging me to sue them.
If you think it's illegal, why sue me? Let's go to court. Sue me for us. Sue me. Let's go to court. Let's go to court then.
And when I finally followed their instructions, they were too scared to show up. There is no more legal loop.
How did you not get arrested for this?
And there is no more postponing the problem. Now, Bricks and Minifigs finally has to deal with the consequences for their actions.
So what if theoretically it went to court and it turns out you were wrong? Would you then admit you're sorry for everything?
Yeah, sure, of course, yeah. I give him the inventory and the judge says I gotta give it to him. I gotta give it to him. I'm not gonna go against the judge's orders.
I want to address that statement. He's saying that because that's what a reasonable person would say. Because of course if he loses the big boy lawsuit to Brian, he's got to comply with the court because heaven forbid that he not comply with a court order. It's only reasonable. So why don't you take him to court? Why don't you sue him? Why don't you let him drag it out for months at a time until you're so far in debt it's not even worth it anymore? And who knows, by then it's like, oh no, we sold the entire stock. They don't have to actually have sold the entire stock. They just have to say they have. Maybe give one cursory set, say the rest aren't his, and move on. That would have given them time. That would have given them an avenue and an angle through which they could actually get ahead of this. But then you did this. And guess what? As soon as the default judgment was ruled, guess what got delivered to them? 10 different lawsuits that were all very real. Temporarily closed. Completely shuttered.
Dang it!
I couldn't believe it. Literally one day after we filed a motion for default judgment, they permanently closed down the store. At first, it did feel kind of cool that our plan worked so well, it completely shut them down. But pretty quickly it sunk in that we are not the winners here. The only winners today is Bricks and Minifigs. Now, there's absolutely no way to hold this store liable for what they did. I guess Bricks and Minifigs was kind of embarrassed by this decision and forgot to mark online that their store is closed, so over the next few days, a bunch of negative reviews started coming in of people expecting an open store, but then being met with this.
Because of course. They didn't have time to plan for this. They lost in court, and that loss in court proves in fact that that property belongs to someone else. Since it's small claims and Brian was one of the complainants, that does mean he can't go to big boy court to prove it. He can't go for the full amount of damages. Maybe as a separate charge, maybe. But Brian won. Brian proved that that was his property. All without going into debt like they wanted to. All of their threats were brought to nothing. What does a narcissist do when all of their lies and all of their threats and all of their control is eroded out from underneath them? They don't just stonewall. They don't accept. They do not resign. They retreat further into the lie and the delusion. And from the moment Ben succeeded at his lawsuit, he became someone that was an active and permanent threat to them. Someone they could not predict, someone they could not control, and somebody who would not let this go. What is a narcissist if they can't predict somebody? What is a narcissist if they lose control? What is a narcissist if the narrative escapes them? What is a narcissist when they lose? Dangerous. We'll see that in the next video that I cover. Ben, by doing this, did in fact win. He got everything he wanted in the most outlandishly stupid way possible, and for that I admire him. But he has now taken an entire narrative and an entire structure and made the people at the center of it want him gone. Whatever form that may take. Now, what does that mean for the rest of the story moving forward? Well, it means Amanda's without a job. So are all the employees, including when they brainwashed. Everybody's unemployed. So they're the villain for that. We thought you were fun guys, and now you've got us shut down because you couldn't leave some Legos alone. The police have now been told that this guy filed 10 different petty lawsuits over a civil claims and is now continuing to harass them with all of these fake lawsuits. He ran a fake raffle. He ran fake lawsuits. And now we have to answer for that. Our lives have been ruined by his petty and harassment campaign of lies and doubts against our nature and our good forces.
Bricks and Minifigs didn't even notify any of the kids' parents who booked birthday parties here. So when all the kids would show up, they would just have to sit in an empty parking lot for their birthday. If Bricks and Minifigs is too scared to show the world that they're closed, then the only way to let the world know is for me to give them an official closing ceremony.
And this is the brand. Not the brand of Reckless Ben. Wait for it.
Someone driving by happened to take a picture of
Wait
the
for
sign
it.
put up and posted it on social media. And pretty much immediately, we started going absolutely viral. The entire world has now seen the...
To read the sign for you. Permanently closed. We stole a family's life savings. They sued. We lost. By closing the store, we get out of having to pay the family what we owe them. This isn't the end of a chapter. To a narcissist, this is an open declaration of war. You have taken their brand, their store, their place of business, their territory, and you have hung the albatross they killed atop it. You have made clear that even running away will not save them from the shame. They'll declare this as defamation. They'll declare this as lies and slander, but the one thing they can't do anymore is pretend it didn't happen. You, especially by going viral, made it so they cannot forget what they did. You have made it so what they did happened. All they can do now is define how everybody else sees what happened. All they can do now is control the narrative around the thing that happened. You've made peace impossible because you have made it clear that you will not remain silent.
This crime that Bricks and Minifigs has committed, and because of this, they finally marked on Google that their store is permanently closed.
I've been reading about this Bricks and Minifigs in Salem, Oregon. It's got this sign out in front of it.
It's been over a week. The sign is still up, and people have been traveling from all over just to come and take a picture with this sign.
If you drive through Kaiser, you may have noticed a mysterious sign appear recently outside the closed mini Bricks and Fig store. Permanently closed, we stole a family's life savings. They sued, we lost. By closing the store, we got out of having to pay the family what we owe them.
Just close down this entire place of business to not pay you $100,000. I don't know, we didn't get the Legos back, but I mean, we shut down an entire business. Like, that's almost...
We still had to get the Legos back. Which is why, even though Bricks and Minifigs closed down this store, I am not stopping until we get this entire Star Wars collection back to its rightful owner.
I don't know, it's just, this video's going on for so long now.
Yeah, I bet you wouldn't believe me if I told you that this is still literally just the beginning of this Lego story. And if you want to watch part 2, it's live right now on my Patreon at Reckless Ben. And part 2 gets insane.
And this right here is why the next video we'll be covering, despite releases between the two, will be part 2. Because in order to understand where the mind of the narcissist is at, we have to know what happened after this, before a video was released. So I'm going to give you a summary here of what happened from at the start of this video and where we are at the end of it. At the start of this, it was one guy whose father's Lego collection happened to be a part of a store's inventory. The narcissist, seeing a huge supply of hot commodities, bullied the previous owner that the arrangement was with out of the store, promising her they would take on the consignment. only to then do all they can to bury that responsibility and hide behind the legal system so they could have all of that profit for free. They bullied everyone, including YouTubers, into silence on the matter and set up an entire perimeter that would inform them should anybody come looking into the matter. Their goal was to bury it, make it forgotten, and then pretend it never happened. We ended this video with some YouTuber who is a complete madman making sure that it could never be forgotten. And that now they have to face what they did. And if you know anything about narcissists, there is no lengths they will not go to in order to make sure they do not have to take an ounce of accountability. I look forward to covering part 2 with you all, as soon as I get there. But I hope you understand how these insights are necessary. From this one video, I got 5 hours out of content trying to explain to you all how it works. And yes, this one was half the video and 2/3 the time. But you need to understand how narcissists think. Ben was never supposed to be able to do anything against them. From the moment they had him trespassed against the store, that should have been the beginning and the end of it. Any sensible person would have stopped there. From the moment they started trying to bully and threaten him, that should have been the end of it. No sensible person would have gone from there. From the moment they started dragging it on and trying to drag it out, he should have forgotten and given up. But he didn't, because he's not a sensible person. This is why narcissists get away with these things. Because to them, what they've done isn't theft. To them, what they did isn't just legal, but it's the fault of everyone but themselves. They're just the clever clogs with all the power and corruption to make sure they get all the benefit. Because to them, that's what everybody else would do. See an opportunity, seize it, turn a profit, make it everybody else's problem. You would do it too if you were as clever as they were. Now again, I want to clarify, as I keep saying, this is just my speculation. This is not a formal accusation of narcissism, nor intent on the parties involved, and is merely for educational purposes on how one can notice the tactics of a narcissist and how to respond to said tactics. Again, I do not encourage any of what Reckless Ben did, though I can understand why people would support it. Because in your personal life, the best move is always to disentangle yourself from the narcissist and remove yourself from that equation. Do so quietly, do so discreetly, do not announce your moves, and leave. They will try and destroy everybody in your support network on the way out, and that's going to have to be the way it goes. You have to be as discreet as you can and expect that there will be costs in trying to leave a narcissist out of your life. So that's where I stand with that. Don't do any of the confrontational or insane things that are done here. That said, if you are in an arms race with a narcissist, again, not my recommendation. Being outlandish and going further than anyone else would is literally the only way to win. This is why I recommend against it. Because winning against a narcissist is a loss for everyone involved. Look at what happened here. We have countless resources from the police burnt out on this. We have entire employees who have lost their work. We have Amanda, poor Amanda, roped into this. She just wanted to work her job and run a store and have peace of mind. And she got roped into something that had nothing to do with her. Her life was made into a living hell because her bosses are horrible monsters who lied to her and fed her a line. Amanda, wherever you are, Godspeed to you. You did not deserve what happened. And as for the Lego Queen, yeah, sorry you got unemployed. That's That's the sucky go of it, man. Like but you knew what was kind of going on. I know you had a 9-to-5. Fortunately, it looks like you're, old enough to get new work. But, like, I'm sorry you got roped into this, too. In fact, blonde-haired man, I'm sorry you got roped into this as well. I don't think you had anything to do with this either. Genuinely, this 100% falls on Josh, and, like, 85% falls on Brandon. Because he frickin' lied in the security feed. We'll get into what I was talking about with Crystal in part 2. But I feel bad for Crystal, too. Because she was also a victim of these guys, as far as I can tell. It's a whole thing. But I want you to pay attention to what happened here. These guys will go to... You even saw there at the very end. Josh wanted to go to reputation destruction as a way to protect from a lawsuit. You can tell he was already planning a way to do it. And even from the moment Ben showed up, they were trying to figure out how to get him arrested or, in enough legal trouble where it wouldn't be worth his trouble to keep looking into this. When I get to part 2, when I get to the second video, hopefully I'll be able to further explain why this is the moment Ben had declared war. This was the moment he hung that sign outside their shop. That was the moment peace stopped being an option. The only way this was going to end peacefully after that is if he never walked into Oregon ever again. If he accepted that he was never going to get paid and he had just disappeared, that was the only way peace was going to happen. Because at this stage, he has done way more damage than the Lego set was ever worth, at least to that company. And so to them, it's not about the Legos anymore. He's coming for them. Destroying their reputation, their good name. And they can't even actually address the accusations. Because if they did, they'd have to admit they did something wrong. And now that he has lawsuits he's won, he's the one who has all of the legal favor. We'll get into that in the next video, but we'll end this one here. Again, hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you found it educational. Once I finish the Bricks and Minifigs series, if this actually does go well, this might be what because I'm still going to do the Mercenaries playthrough, but that's a separate thing. But this might be if this takes off, this will be what this channel might turn into. Because recognizing narcissistic patterns, pointing them out, calling them out on it, I've gotten very good at it over the years. Happens when you grow up around a lot of them. They basically all have the same personality once you get to know it. No, that's not dismissive. And yes, this is speculation as to whether or not these men are, but the fact that it lines up with my experience with them so well, yeah, that's not a coincidence. If nothing else, they have narcissistic tendencies. I feel safe saying that much, but whether or not they're medically narcissistic is all speculation. Still, I might have to make this more of a series and address more things where narcissism is a key thing. Yes, it'll be some of what you think it is. Yes, it'll be some things you don't think it is. We'll see. But, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed my part 2 of my series. Hopefully, when I cover part 2 of his series, we'll be able to get more into the details.